It was a Tuesday night. Ordinary, forgettable until it wasn't. She was in the shower, and I was grabbing her towel from the chair when her smartwatch buzzed on the counter. I wasn't snooping, I swear. I hadn't even thought to be suspicious. 15 years together, and if you'd asked me that morning if I trusted her, I'd have said yes without blinking. But when I saw it, can't stop thinking about last night. You looked incredible, everything stopped. The name? Tony. A colleague. I'd met him once at a company mixer. Friendly guy, married, 2 kids, talked about soccer and barbecues. The kind of guy you'd lend your lawnmower to. I didn't confront her. Not right away. She came out of the shower, her hair wet, skin glowing, humming some indie song like it was just another night. I handed her the towel, smiled, pretended everything was normal, but inside, I was shaking. I told myself maybe it was innocent. Maybe it was a joke, an inside reference. Maybe I'd misunderstood. I wanted to believe that. God, I wanted to believe that. But the message kept playing in my mind like a broken record. Can't stop thinking about last night. You looked incredible. I waited until she fell asleep. Her phone was locked, but her laptop, wide open on the kitchen table. She never logged out of anything. Her mail was already pulled up. I scrolled. Nothing obvious. Just the usual. PTA reminders, work updates, Amazon receipts. So I searched his name. Tony. That's when I found it, buried in the archived folder. Hundreds of messages over 2 years, some short, some long, all careful. Avoiding obvious language, but I read between the lines. Inside jokes I didn't understand. References to meetings that never made it to our shared calendar. A message from last December, the hotel was perfect, wish we had more time. My stomach turned. And then one more just 2 weeks ago, I miss you more than I should. We said we were done. Why does it still feel unfinished? That was the nail in the coffin. Not just that she had cheated. That she was still thinking about him. I closed the laptop. My hands were cold. My jaw clenched so tight I thought it might snap. I couldn't sleep that night. I lay next to her, watching her breathe, wondering how long she'd been living this double life. Wondering what other parts of our life were a lie. I didn't know what to do next, so I started watching. Listening, planning. Because if she wanted to lie to me in secret, then I'd uncover the truth in silence. I made a plan. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to throw things or confront her with shaking hands and blurry eyes. I was going to get everything I needed first. The next morning, while she was in the shower again, funny how habits make people careless, I picked up her phone. She used the same passcode for everything. Her birthday. I wish I hadn't known it. I scrolled through her texts. Tony wasn't under Tony, too obvious. But I found a Tanya, and that Tanya was very interested in her day-to-day. I saved every message, every photo, every timestamp. But I wasn't just looking for him anymore. I was looking for her. I remembered her name, Emma. I'd met her once at my wife's company party a year ago. Long black hair, emerald green dress, quiet but sharp. The kind of woman who seemed to know everything going on in the room without saying much. We made small talk by the buffet table. She laughed at something I said, something stupid, probably. There was a sadness in her smile, now that I think back. Tony introduced her as the wife, like she was just an accessory. That stuck with me. She didn't correct him, just sipped her wine. Back in the present, I searched her name on Facebook. She was still listed as married to Tony. Her page was mostly private, but I found her Instagram through a tagged post, public, full of soft, muted photos. Coffee mugs, beach sunsets, her kids, a selfie here and there. And then one, taken 2 days ago, with a caption that stopped me. Sometimes silence is the loudest betrayal. I stared at that line until my screen dimmed. I didn't follow her. Not yet. I made a burner account instead, just in case. Then I sent her a message. Emma, I think we need to talk. It's about your husband. And mine. Sent. Seen. No reply. I stared at the screen for 20 minutes, my heart trying to beat its way out of my chest. Then finally, 3 dots. She was typing. The 3 dots blinked, then disappeared, then blinked again. I sat there, hunched over my phone like a teenager waiting on a crush. My palms were sweaty, my chest tight. I told myself I didn't care if she responded. That I'd done what I needed to do. But I was lying to myself. Finally, the message came through. Who is this? Fair question. I stared at it for a second, considering how much to reveal. My name's Aaron. I'm married to Lisa. There was a pause, longer this time. Then, Tony's Lisa. Yes, I saw the messages. I know everything. Read again. She didn't respond for a while. I thought maybe she blocked me, or maybe she was sitting in a room with him, asking him questions with poison in her voice. But then, another reply. I knew it. I've known. Just didn't want to believe it. How long? At least 2 years. No reply. Then, you have screenshots. I do. Send them. I hesitated, then did. Every message, every photo, every plan they made. I sent them all. It felt disgusting. But it also felt cleansing. When I was done, I waited. Finally, she responded. Can I call you? It was late. My wife was upstairs asleep, but everything in me said yes. I dropped my voice to a whisper. Sure. The call rang once, twice, then her voice calm, cold, slightly cracked. Hi. Hey. And for the next hour, to strangers, to victims sat on opposite ends of a phone call, connected by betrayal, pain, and something neither of us expected, understanding. By the time we hung up, I wasn't sure where things were heading. But I knew this. We weren't done. Not yet. The phone calls didn't stop. One became two. Then every night, like clockwork, Emma and I talked about everything, about how we found out, the strange little changes in our spouses we ignored, the weight of pretending nothing was wrong. She had a laugh that cracked through the dark, and a bitterness that matched mine sip for sip. Sometimes she cried, sometimes I did. There was no flirting, not at first, just raw, unfiltered honesty. The kind you can't have with someone you've built lies around. We were safe with each other, because there was nothing left to protect, but then came the night we crossed a line. It started with a joke, something stupid. I don't even remember what I said. But she laughed, really laughed. And then, silence. You know, she said, sometimes I wish we'd met first. I didn't know what to say, my chest tightened. Then I heard her breath catch, soft and shaky. Sorry, that was too much. But it wasn't. I thought the same, I whispered. There was a pause, then she said it. Come over. 3 words, just that. My hands trembled, my conscience screamed, but I didn't listen. I told my wife I had a work meeting early the next morning. She barely looked up from her phone. Emma opened the door in sweatpants and a hoodie, no makeup, hair messy. And I swear to God, she'd never looked more beautiful. We didn't rush it. We sat on the couch. Drank wine, talked. But then, her hand brushed mine. I looked at her. She looked at me. And just like that, our pain became something physical, desperate, hungry, real. We didn't make love. We made war. And when it was over, lying in the quiet, both of us staring at the ceiling, she whispered, this doesn't fix anything. I know, but I don't regret it. Neither did I, not that night. But regret has a way of creeping in when the sun comes up. And secrets don't stay quiet forever. The email was clean, clinical, precise. No rage, no threats, just facts and proof. I attached everything. Screenshots of texts between Lisa and Tony, time-stamped, flirtatious, explicit. Photos from the hotel hallway, them together, his hand on her back. Her laughing up at him like I'd never seen her do with me. A PDF file titled Timeline listing every date they met during work hours. Meetings that never existed, late nights that led to lies. I addressed it to HR directly. No aliases, no burner, full name, real number. Subject line, inappropriate relationship, between employees, evidence attached. And I hit send. I sat back in my chair and let the silence settle. At 10:12 a.m., the email as read. At 11:47 a.m., Tony stopped responding to Lisa. By 2:30 p.m., Emma messaged me. HR just pulled him into a meeting. No warning, he's rattled. I didn't reply. I just watched the pieces start to fall exactly where we placed them. Lisa came home that night tight-lipped, holding her bag like it might explode. She didn't say a word at dinner. Her appetite vanished. Her phone buzzed once she snatched it up like it might scream. She knew. She just didn't know how much. Later that night, I got the second confirmation from Emma. They suspended him. She's under review. They're interviewing her tomorrow. The fallout was real now. Careers unraveling, reputations cracking. Their perfect little fantasy shattered. I didn't confront Lisa. I let her sit in it, let her sweat. She finally asked, voice low and bitter, "You told them?" I looked her in the eye. I didn't tell them anything. I showed them everything. I wanted Tony to feel the weight of what had happened, every bit of betrayal and betrayal's aftermath. I couldn't just let him wonder or remain in the dark. He needed to understand what had really gone on, and how deep the knife had gone, so I sent him a message. Anonymous, of course. You're not the only one hiding secrets. I think you've lost your wife, you just don't know it yet. A friend. I wasn't expecting a reply right away, but when he showed up at my office the next morning, I knew he'd read it. He burst in, unannounced, like a storm. His face was flushed with fury, eyes wide with disbelief, his voice trembling with rage. You think you can do whatever you want and walk away scot-free? You think she's the only one who's been betrayed here? I sat back in my chair, unfazed. What's the problem, Tony? You're the one who's been lying all along. He stepped forward, fists clenched at his sides, like he was on the verge of violence. You slept with Emma, after everything. I didn't flinch. Yeah, I did. And it felt better than anything you and Lisa ever had. Tony's face twisted, recoiling like he'd been slapped harder than he could comprehend. You think this is some kind of game, he growled, his voice low and venomous. I'll ruin you, Aaron. You think Lisa and I are the only ones with something to lose. You don't get to play the victim here. Funny, I replied coolly, leaning forward slightly. That's exactly what Lisa thought. Look where we are now. His chest heaved, his eyes wild. He took a step toward me, closing the distance between us like a predator. The air felt thick, charged with the electricity of something neither of us could ignore. You crossed a line, he spat, his voice hoarse. You think you've won. You don't have a clue what you've just started. I could feel the tension crackling between us, like the calm before a storm. We're just getting started, Tony. Tony left my office without another word, his anger practically radiating off him like heat from an open flame. I didn't even bother to watch him go. There was nothing more to say, the damage was done. He was beyond reason, and at that point, I didn't care. I sat back in my chair, staring at the screen in front of me. The silence in the office was almost deafening, but I wasn't bothered by it. I'd made my choice, this was the path I'd chosen, and now I had to see it through. By the time I left for the night, the atmosphere at work had shifted. People were whispering, and the usual hum of office chatter was replaced with a cold unease. Word had gotten out. My affair with Emma, the truth about Lisa and Tony, it was all out in the open now. I needed to get away. I couldn't go back home, not yet. Not with the storm waiting for me there, so I checked into a hotel. A quiet, anonymous place where no one would ask questions. I needed space, time to think. And most importantly, I needed to feel like I had control over something again. Emma texted me shortly after I checked in. He knows. He came to my place, screaming. I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. I didn't respond immediately. I could hear the panic in her words. She was scared. But I wasn't. We'd already crossed the line, and there was no going back now. The hotel room was sterile and impersonal. The sheets were too white, the air too still, but I didn't care. I needed the space. I sat on the edge of the bed, my phone buzzing intermittently with messages from Lisa, Tony, even Emma, but I ignored them all. It was funny, in a way. I'd spent so much of my life trying to do everything right, marriage, career, family, and now everything I'd built had crumbled in a matter of days. But I wasn't going to fix it. I wasn't going to apologize. I wasn't going to beg for forgiveness. They'd made their choices. Now I was making mine. I looked out the window, staring into the night. The world outside felt far away, but for the first time in a long time, I felt free. The days blurred together in the hotel. I didn't sleep much, but I didn't need to. My mind was always racing, running through scenarios, calculating the next move. It was like a game now, but not one I was willing to lose. The board was set, and the pieces, Tony, Lisa, Emma, were all in motion. I'd gotten messages from Lisa, angry, pleading, broken, but I ignored every one. She'd made her bed. Let her lie in it. Emma, on the other hand, was a different story. Her messages kept coming, but they were tinged with panic, fear that everything was unraveling faster than she could handle. Please, can we talk? I'm scared. I don't know what to do. Tony's threatening to tell everyone. He's losing it. I read them all, and then I put my phone down. It wasn't until the third night that I finally called her back. The hotel room felt suffocating, but the thought of returning home was unbearable. So I stayed silent, waiting for anything to happen. When Emma answered, her voice was shaky. Are you there, Aaron? I'm here, I said, my tone controlled. Calm, too calm. She exhaled sharply, like she'd been holding her breath. I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this. Tony's out of control. He's telling people we're having an affair, telling anyone who will listen. He said he'll go public with it if I don't leave you. Her words tumbled out in a rush, like she couldn't stop herself. What do we do now? I leaned back against the bed, the harsh white walls closing in. We don't do anything. We wait. Wait for what? She asked, a sharp edge of panic creeping into her voice. Wait for them to fall apart. I paused, letting the silence stretch between us. Lisa's already taken her steps. She realized soon enough how much she's lost. Tony will burn everything down, and when he's done, it'll be your turn. My turn, she scoffed, but there was no humor in it. I never wanted this, Aaron. I didn't want any of it. But now I'm in the middle of it. Exactly, I said, my voice low, deliberate. We're all in the middle of this. We don't get to turn back now. Her breath caught. And what about Lisa? What are you going to do about her? I didn't answer right away. I had no plan, no answers. Just the inevitable destruction of everything. She'd figure it out. She always does. The line went quiet. I could hear her breathing, the tension on the other end. Then she spoke again, quieter, almost uncertain. What if she never forgives me? What if? I didn't let her finish. This isn't about forgiveness anymore. It's about survival. We made our choices. Now we face the consequences. I spent the next few days in a daze, avoiding any direct confrontation with Lisa. The calls continued, but I didn't answer. The messages grew more desperate, apologies, excuses, tears. She was falling apart, but I couldn't bring myself to care. Emma was still hanging on, but the cracks were beginning to show. Her unease was palpable. She was in the middle of a fight that wasn't hers, but I couldn't tell her I was feeling the same way. She'd never asked for this, but she'd been pulled into a world of lies and chaos just like me. Lisa finally showed up at the hotel. I didn't expect it, but I wasn't surprised. She stood at the door for a long moment, her face pale and drawn. When I opened it, she didn't speak at first. She just stared at me, like she was seeing me for the first time. You're really doing this, she whispered, her voice barely audible. This is where we are now. I said nothing. I didn't have the words. I just looked at her, letting the silence speak for me. I thought you loved me, she continued, her voice breaking. I thought we had something real. How could you do this to us? You did this, I said finally, my voice tight. Not me. You were the one who crossed the line first. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she didn't cry. Instead, she nodded, slowly, almost resigned. I know, her voice faltered. But I didn't think it would end like this. I thought we could work through it. We can't, I said, shaking my head. It's too late for that. You crossed a line with Tony, and I crossed a line with Emma. There's no going back. She wiped her eyes quickly, but her composure was slipping. Where does that leave us, Aaron? I paused. It leaves us right here, broken and done.